Hello, Kubrick Lover 1972 here, and this is part 9 of the entire DVD and Blu-ray collection that I have. Um, I've noticed in some of the previous videos that I've done with this entire catalog one that I've shown some movies that I had shown when I had bought Criterion's or in the Barnes & Noble sale. There might have been some other areas that I covered before on other videos, and I had no idea that I did that. So forgive me if I overlap a little, but it's hard to keep track of everything and know what you did and didn't do. But anyways, this is part 9, and like I said, we're gonna start looking at some Ingmar Bergman now. So first one I have, really good movie. Summer with Monica. It's a controversial. Well, I don't know. Maybe it's tame by today's standards. Harriet Anderson is in it, who was one of Bergman's loves. Harriet Anderson, of course, Lee Ullman was another, and I think Ingrid Thulin rather, and Bibi Anderson, I believe, was the other one. Four women he had intense relationships with, and I think Lee Ullman was the one that maybe is probably the most close. The one that he had the most lasting relationship with, even though I don't think he was married. I don't even know if he was married to her. I think he was married to her, but if you know, let me know. But this movie is about two young people. They're teenagers, I would say, and they decide they live this humdrum, blue collar kind of lifestyle, and they really hate their lives. I would say, like the boy. The boy is like a messenger or something like that. He comes in late to work, and Monica's kind of, I think she's obsessed with. I can't remember exactly what she's, but they really just want to have fun and be young, and so they take off on a boat. I think it's the young man's boat, not his boat, but it's like his father's boat or something. And they have fun for a little while, and then something, I'm not going to tell what, happens, and they're left in quite a conundrum. And but I highly recommend this movie. I think I could say it's one of Bergman's best films. I don't know. I mean, because there's a fair number of Bergman movies I like, and this wasn't in that ranking for until I saw it, and then I basically added it quite soon after, because I think this is a really good movie, and it shows this was before Bergman was hot stuff in the world. He was just big in Sweden, and this just shows what he can do before things like The Seventh Seal, and that means I think this is the next one the next one that I have in my collection. That's one of the earliest of his works, and that's The Seventh Seal. Seventh Seal, I'm sure a lot of people know about. There's no photo in here. There's just the black right there. But Seventh Seal, probably maybe a fair amount of it's about death playing a chess game with the night, and it's during the bubonic plague, and I think Bergman was an atheist. I'm not positive, but Bergman's father was a minister. He was a Lutheran minister, and maybe his father wanted him to become a minister. I'm not quite sure. You see death there. You know what? I'm going to turn this light on right here, and you can see better. See, that's banged Ekerach as death. And this is a beautiful movie. The cinematography is beautiful. The cinematography was done by Gunnar Fisher. And you have Bergman's stable retinue of actors, like, of course, Max von Sydow here, and Bibi Andersson, and Gunnar Bjornstrand, and those are the ones I can think of. But he had a regular stable of players that were in his movies, and that's a shot from the end of the film. But I don't want to give anything away. But this is a really good movie. It's one of those films that are like the essentials of movie watching, like Seven Samurai, for example, or Citizen Kane, or 8½. Like these are the films, like the basic films, or at least the basic foreign movies that if you want to get up like a basic grounding in foreign cinema, like Seven Seal is one of those movies. Next up is a film he made called Wild Strawberries. And it's interesting because this one stars Victor Seaström, who was a Swedish director and had an influence on Ingmar Bergman with Phantom Carriage, which Phantom Carriage I haven't watched yet, and I showed in a previous video. But this particular movie, the Victor Seaström character is a professor, and he's headed to his old university after he's been retired to accept an award or an honor or whatever. And he takes this road trip and he meets these people, and he has a relationship with his adult son, which I think is not the greatest. And it's just like of course, it's not a coming of age story, but it's a story of like having acceptance of oneself at a certain age in life, and his beautiful dream sequence at the start of the movie that's interesting to watch. If you like films that have dreams in them, but that's Wild Strawberries. And next up, Virgin Spring. This was a film that has two women in it that are, I think both of them are I don't know. Maybe not both of them. Max von Sydow and his wife have a daughter, and she and her sister, or maybe it's her cousin, and the cousin, I think, is played by Harriet Anderson. I'm not quite sure. Birgitta Peterson maybe is the woman who plays the cousin or the sister. No, not sure. But this daughter of Max von Sydow's character, she gets raped in the forest, and her sister, I guess it's her sister, she sort of, I think her sister might be sexually promiscuous, and she's pagan, and this is the early time in Swedish history when Christianity was just starting to get its bearings in Sweden. And here's the pagan girl. Oops, I want to drop that. And then here's the Christian girl, the virgin. So anyways, she gets raped. She gets killed. And Max von Sydow's pretty pissed off, as you can imagine, because he's a father. And the two men that raped her and the boy that's with them, who sort of observed the event, they asked for shelter for the night from a storm. I think it's a storm at Max von Sydow's residence, and initially he doesn't know that it's his daughter that these men raped and murdered, and that's a plot. So when he finds out, he's going to be pretty mad, and results ensue. And the place where she was murdered has a spring that comes out of it. That's why it's called the Virgin Spring. And this film had an influence on a film called Last House on the Left by Wes Craven, which I have not seen. It was made in the early 70s. I think there was even a remake of Last House on the Left. And there might have been another film that was another rendition of Last House on the Left, but the title escapes me. So, and then we have some box sets here. So it's a film trilogy by Ingmar Bergman: Through a Glass Darkly, Winter Light, and The Silence. And it comes with a bonus DVD as well. So let's look at these. I'm certainly not talking about all the features on these because that's more time consuming. I'm trying to get through these, and maybe I'll talk about some of them, maybe I won't. I'm not sure. I mean, some people cover these in other videos, so it's kind of redundant if I did so. Not saying that I wouldn't, but, anyways. So the first one is Through a Glass Darkly. It's about a mentally ill woman. I think she's a schizophrenic. And the second one is Winter Light with Gunnar Bjornstrand. Oh, and I think Through a Glass Darkly has, what's her name? Harriet Anderson is the main character. And I think Max von Sydow's in it. Harriet Anderson. Her father is played by Gunnar Bjornstrand. And her husband's played by Max von Sydow. So, and the next one's Winter Light. It's about a minister played by Gunnar Bjornstrand who's basically lost his faith in God. He doesn't have a very big congregation, so it might be reflecting like how Ingmar Bergman felt about religious matters. And the third one in the series is The Silence. They're not exactly sequels to one another. They're like united by theme or emotion or whatever. So they're not really story related, like same characters or what have you. This is about, I think they're two sisters and a young boy that take this train. They come to this fancy restaurant. I don't know if it's a fancy, not a restaurant, a hotel. And the boy comes across small people. I can't remember it awfully well, but it's kind of a weird movie. But so that's the third. And then this bonus disc, you have Ingmar Bergman makes a movie, and this one is about the making of Winter Light, I believe. So, and it says here, while planned on the scene as apprentice to Bergman, Vilgot Solman, director I Am Curious Yellow 67, suggests to Swedish television that they take the opportunity to record with an acclaimed director. So that's what that film covers. So that's the film trilogy for you by Ingmar Bergman. And next up is another box set. It's released by, I think it's released by MGM UA or MGM. It's this beautiful box set. I got this at Borders when they were open. Leave Ullman there. And, just beautiful. Just a beautiful packaging. But anyways, it's got 5 films. And and it's got commentaries for all 5 films by a minister. He's a priest or a minister, I'm not sure which. He's a Canadian minister, I believe, or priest. Persona with Bibi Anderson and Lee Ullman, which is a really good movie, one of my favorites. Pauline Kael really loves this movie. And they sort of like merged personalities, and they're sort of like the same person. It's kind of hard to say. It's a very avant-garde, very artistic movie. There's only 4 actors in the whole movie, and I sort of like that. There's some movies that I like that a few of them are my favorites that have just a few actors and what you can do with just very little, and in terms of actors and maybe even crew, and you can make a movie, without resorting to big explosions or car chases, even though I'm fine with that as well. But this is interesting when you can do something like that. Next movie is a film called Hour of the Wolf. It's like a horror movie. But it's not like your traditional horror movie because it's a Bergman movie. And I guess Max von Sydow's trying to keep his sanity, but he sort of loses it. And there's like vampires in this movie, and it's kind of an interesting movie. But I can't remember it awfully well. I mean, I can remember certain scenes, like this group of people, I think they're like walking on the ceiling or something like that, or they're vampires. I don't know. But this next film is one of my favorite movies of all time. It's my personal favorite, Ingmar Bergman. If you want to see a depressing movie that really gets you down, but it's a masterpiece anyways. And it's unlike other Ingmar Bergman movies because it's very narrative driven. It's like a regular movie like you make in America that's narrative driven, or regular foreign movies these days that are more narrative driven, and then with instead of very artsy kind of poetic ways of doing things. So even though the shots you could say are poetic maybe, but shame. And Lee Ullman says this and another film she made with another director, which is after all these Bergmans I show you, this and that other movie that I'll show you is her 2 proudest achievements that she's done. And this is about a married couple. They're violinists, and they get caught up in the melee, or they get caught up in a war between the country they live in and another country. And the other country occupies the island they live on. They're thinking of leaving, but they decide to stay. And then they get taken to like a concentration camp. But the friend of theirs who is influencing the government, he gets them out of there. And when they're at their house, the Gunnar Bjornstrand comes and he seduces Lee Ullman, and they make love, Lee Ullman and Gunnar Bjornstrand, and Max von Sydow knows about this, but he knows that he's given, Gunnar Bjornstrand's given Lee Ullman some money, but Max von Sydow doesn't mention this to these groups of soldiers that come to their house, and they blow the house up, and they force Max von Sydow to kill Gunnar Bjornstrand, And then after that, they're trying to live off their potatoes that they're growing, and they're not very good at growing potatoes. And basically, this film is about people that when you're in a war, and you're when you're in the very heart of a war, like within the actual battlegrounds, what you'll do that you won't normally do in peacetime. What behavior you'll adopt that's very unlike what you would be like if you were, just living everyday life. And that's what I like about this movie, because you think at the end there's a little hope, but not quite. And I'm not going to go any further, but this is a great movie, which is Shame, or The Shame. So, and then you have this movie. This is The Passion of Anna. Another one of Liv Ullmann. She plays a handicapped woman. Debbie Anderson again is in it. Erland Josephson, who was a good friend of Ingmar Bergman's. Max von Sydow. I can't remember what this movie's about, but I think I recall liking it. There's a scene in this movie where it looks like a dachshund. It's a dog hanging by a noose, which is kind of disturbing. But other than that, it's a pretty good movie. When I say other than that, I like dogs, and I don't like to see that kind of thing happening, but just to warn you about that. And then the last film in the box set is The Serpent's Egg, which has, David Carradine, who I believe played Bill in Kill Bill. And this is set in 1920s Berlin. Is it Berlin? It's 1920s Germany, I believe. Yeah, Berlin. And this is just before, it's 1923 Berlin. But I can't remember it exactly well, but I think it shows the decadence of German society at the time, and that's what Bergman was trying to show in this movie. And then last up, we got this documentary disc, bonus disc, which is an intermezzo, rare conversation with Ingmar Bergman, an interview with Ingmar Bergman, 1970, a historical glimpse into the mind of Ingmar Bergman. And then we have his other great cinematographer, Sven Nykvist, with One Eye He Cries, a never-before-seen look at the celebrated cinematographer and longtime Bergman collaborator. And then we have Faroe Island Mystique. Faroe was the island that Ingmar Bergman lived on. And that's where they shot Persona. And I think Passion of Anna was shot there. I think even Hour of the Wolf was shot there. And Shame, too, maybe. A new featurette exploring the principal location of many Bergman films through stunning photographs and interviews with key cast members. And then you have American cinematographer, April 72, Filmmaking in Sweden, which has some articles and photo galleries and intimate and fascinating photographs of Bergman's life and work. So, the thing is, I would like for Criterion to release Shame. Maybe they're planning on it. On Criterion, because that's a film that really deserves a Criterion treatment. I mean, Persona already got it, and that's good. But Shame really deserves to be Criterion material. Maybe they're considering it. Maybe they have it. Maybe they're working on it. But that's one Criterion should seriously consider making an edition of. And speaking of Persona, sometimes I buy the same title more than once, because like there's a commentary on one, and on the other one there might not be a commentary, it might be a different commentary, and there'll be additional material that's not on the other discs. So it was a Criterion Persona. And I basically told you what this movie was about, yeah. So as usual, Criterion does a great job, like with a young boy from the start. I remember buying Persona when videotapes were the designated form of watching, and the particular quote on the videotape on the backside was by Pauline Kael. It says like one of the scenes in Persona where Bibi Andersson talks to Lee Ullman is one of the most erotic scenes ever filmed, even though there's no sex or anything in it. It's just her talking about her experience having sex with a young man on the beach. And there's also a reference to, well, it's not a reference. You see footage of a monk in Vietnam burning himself to death. You see it in this movie, but that actually happened, and Bergman put that in the film. So, and I have yet to delve into this Criterion Persona. So, but I hope to do it one of these days. Next up, The Magician. It's a good movie. I haven't seen it in quite some time. And then I think there's some interesting shots, like a shot of an eyeball, but I can't remember it awfully well. And I think one of the female characters dresses up in like white tie and tails or something like that. I can't remember it. And, I think I'm realizing that I'm missing a movie. Maybe not. And I showed the particular movie that I'm thinking of before. I didn't show I think it's not. I don't know where I put it. I got it on Blu-ray. I'm looking in my room for it. Or, well, not room, living room. Uh, I'll get to it in a second. I think um, this is a this is another movie, Scenes from a Marriage. It was a television miniseries. It's with Erland Josephson and Lee Volman. There's also a theatrical film as well. And it's about a married couple played by Erland Josephson and Lee Volman. And everything seems to be going fine for their marriage, but then all of a sudden he wants to divorce her. And they just met a couple, I believe, that wants to divorce at the start of the film, and she's kind of shocked. Lee Volman's kind of shocked that Josephson wants to leave the marriage. So you got the television series there, and television series, and then you have the actual movie, which is shorter than the theatrical version, and you have some supplements. And this particular movie, maybe it's just the television versions. At the end of the movie, Bergman does this unique thing where he does the credits, and while you're watching the credits, he speaks out loud who did the camera work, who did the cinematography, who did the sound, who starred in it. So that's kind of unique, I guess you could say. This particular movie, I think it had a lot of influence on people divorcing at the particular time in the 70s. Specifically, probably more in Sweden than anywhere else. But hang on, I'm going to look for that other Bergman. Okay, back. And this is the last Bergman to show. I guess I just put this with some other movies, miscellaneous kind of movies with the Blu-rays and the DVD tower films. I had this on DVD for quite a while, and then I decided to buy the Blu-ray because it had a new interview with actor Harriet Anderson, an introduction by director Ingmar Bergman from 2001. The interview with Harriet Anderson is conducted by historian Peter Cowie on Solace, a new video essay by filmmaker Kaganada, behind-the-scenes footage with commentary by Cowie. Ingmar Bergman, Reflections on Life, Death, and Love with Erland Josephson, 2000. A 52-minute interview with Bergman and his longtime collaborator. Well, that was on the previous one, but not these other things. Trailer, and it's got an essay by film scholar Emma Wilson. So, Harriet Anderson on there, otherwise known as Monica, and Ingrid Tholen. I think she was Monica in Summer with Monica, I'm pretty sure. Lee Volman. And of course, with those three names, Bergman shared, there's just an essay there. Bergman shared, three relationships right there, So, and this is a beautiful use of color in the movie. The use of red and white. The production design is very, very good, because the red is supposed to suggest passion, maybe, and white is supposed to suggest sterility. And it's about a dying woman, played by Harriet Anderson, and her sisters who are taking care of her while she's, slowly dying away from cancer. And she has a maid that takes care of her. And it's just about their relationships with one another and how they deal with one another. And what they really think of one another, and trying to come to terms with things, like the fact that their sister is dying of cancer, and also the relationships with each other. So it's a good movie, and it probably looks better on Blu-ray, probably with the reds and yellows, reds and whites, I mean. So, and this is not a Bergman, but it has Liv Ullmann in it. It's a Swedish movie. Max von Sydow, I think, is in it too. Yes. And this is a film, the other movie that she was proud of, along with Shame. I don't know if these two movies are considered one. Oh, it says two. I don't know. Maybe the second one is the sequel. The Immigrants in the New Land, and it's by Jan Troell. And I believe it's about it's a Swedish farming family's voyage to America and their efforts to put down roots in this beautiful but forbidding new world. So, and a couple who meet with one physical and emotional trial after another on their arduous journey. So it's about, settling in America and going into the West and, that kind of a thing. I haven't seen this film in a long time. Probably, I don't know, the 90s or maybe even the 80s. I don't know, a long time ago. And it's got new introduction by theater and film critic John Simon, new conversation between film scholar Peter Cowie and director Jan Troell, new interview with actor Liv Ullmann, To Paint with Pictures, an hour-long documentary from 2005 on the making of the films, featuring archival footage as well as interviews with Troell, Ullmann, producer and co-screenwriter Bengt Forslund, actor Eddie Axberg, and composer George Odner, trailers, and an essay by critic Terence Rafferty. And it's got some nice shots in here. Like I say, I'm looking forward to taking a look at this. And I know I said that about a lot of movies, but, I'm looking forward to watching this. And which goes first? Let's see. The Immigrants. Wait a minute. The Immigrants and the New Land. There's a photo of the inside cover. And then you have this nice booklet. I think it's a booklet. Maybe not. No, it's a pamphlet. But, I think Criterion's sort of keeping in mind what their customers are saying about booklets. And I think they're trying to go the booklet route. I'm not sure, though. At any rate, that's the Immigrants in the New Land. So, and I'm looking forward to watching that when I get to watching it. So there you have it. That's Ingmar Bergman and two films by Jan Troell. And next up we have, let's see, we have some French movies, I think, and we'll go from there, and we'll see what's next after that. I think it's like Germany, maybe, or Poland. So I have some Polanski, we'll have some Kieslowski. In Germany, we'll have Fassbender, we'll have Fritz Lang, and when we get to the box sets, there's some Herzog, so good time we'll get to all of this. So thanks for watching, and keep on the lookout for more videos of my entire DVD and Blu-ray collection. And thanks for watching.